repatriation against their will, Turkey planning mass deportations of Syrian refugees. A xenophobic atmosphere and deep resentments towards Syrian refugees are steadily increasing in Turkey as the recently broadcasted short movie Sessiz İstila, Signifying Silent Invasion, has stirred a controversial political debate. This movie evidently displays how the Turkish population will become an ethnic minority in the year of 2043, outweighed by a dominating Syrian-Arab populace that will control the Turkish state.
İki tane Türk arkadaşım var benim gibi, temizlikçi.
Suriye'de iç savaşın başlamasıyla birlikte
Hande Katacasu, the movie director, further claims at the end of the film that the current number of 8 million Syrian refugees will augment up to 15 millions in only a few years, considering the current birth rate. Pursuant to official statistics, 3,762,385 Syrian nationals were living as temporary proteges in Turkey by April 21, 2022, whereby 1.4% of them were dwelling in refugee camps. Nearly 200,000 Syrians were given Turkish citizenship, according to the statement of the Turkish Interior Ministry. In accordance with these statements, 492,983 Syrians will voluntarily have returned to their home country by April 4, 2022, and only 19,336 Syrian nationals were allegedly reported to Syria since 2016.
Tabii sadece mazlumların canlarını
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan stated during a video message on the occasion of the inauguration of a new residential area in Idlib that 500,000 Syrians voluntarily returned to the so-called safety zone since 2016. Erdogan further added that the continuation of a voluntary repatriation of approximately 1 million Syrian nationals currently is in progress, which introduces a turnaround in Turkey's domestic policies that previously had insisted on refusing to repatriate Syrian refugees. In the so-called safety zone, which factually described those regions in Syria that are currently occupied and controlled by Turkey-backed army militias, the Turkish state presently builds monotonous settlements out of so-called briquette houses, which in fact resemble a refugee camp. The sole difference is that the usual tents are replaced with simple houses. 67,000 of these houses are reportedly inhabited by Syrian refugees. The pro-governmental journal Sabah published details on Erdogan's plan to establish new settlements in the cities of Azaz, Jarablus, Al-Bab, Tal Abyad, and Ras Al Ain, located in the Al-Raqqa, Aleppo, and Al-Hasaka governorates. The voluntary repatriation should preponderantly take places in those Turkish cities that currently inhabit a large number of Syrian refugees. According to the investigation of political scientist Professor Dr. Murat Erdogan, the majority of the Syrian populace does not want to return to Syria for various reasons. Therefore, the Turkish state has to develop a national policy that seeks to interrogate Syrian refugees in the long term. A voluntary return further seems very contentious, as the repart rates are indiscriminately distributed on various different places and domestic conflicts are very likely to erupt, as no precise agreement and time periods were officially stipulated for the implementation of Turkey's repatriation policy. This plan was harshly criticized by several human rights organizations, which designated the so-called safety zone, controlled by Turkey-backed militias, as perilous areas characterized by horrendous human rights violations that include killing, torture, looting, and rape. Just recently, horrendous details of clandestinely run torture prisons have come to light, which take place on a daily basis and have led to nearly 1,500 forcibly disappeared civilians. However, a policy of voluntary repatriation indeed matches the interests of the Turkish state, which seeks to sustainably alter the demographic composition of the northeastern part of Syria, in particular in the Kurdish-dominated villages. On one hand, every attempt to establish autonomous structures in the north of the country should get undermined, and on the other hand, the long-term control of this respective area should be ensured. Furthermore, elections are scheduled to take place in Turkey on June 18, 2023. The AKP-dominant government could therefore deliberately enforce its new repatriation policy that forcefully deports Syrian refugees to their home country in order to win the upcoming elections. However, a mass deportation of Syrian refugees could bear dreadful consequences for the local population of the northeastern Syria and the international community of states, as a potential wave of refugees, again trying to flee their war-torn home country, might affect Europe and Syria's adjacent countries.